Well, welcome back to the program. Glad you're with us this morning. It is, what time? 4 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. Time just flying by. The coffee is just like hit the spot this morning. I don't know why. Say good morning to my good friend Emil Lee, our managing editor for Korean Broadcasting Network News, the host of St. Martin Insights News that matters to you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, listeners. Great to be here again.
Always a pleasure to have you in the house this morning, sir. Always. Let me welcome to the program. First time on Island 92, Member of Parliament, the Honorable Lyndon Lewis. Welcome, sir. How are you? Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Dr. Soc.
Let's see. There, now we got the right microphone. There we go. We switched up. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Soc. Good
Always.
morning.
Always a pleasure. It's funny when Emil walked in this morning. I said, I've never met MP Lewis. So I can't believe after all these years. So talk to me. What did you do before Parliament? What was you came out of the justice world?
Yeah. But just before that, I was also the legal advisor to two ministers of public health, social development, and labor. The former minister Otley and also Richard Panafleck.
Mm-hmm.
I was also the legal advisor to Leo Lambrix at the Ministry of Tourism, Economics Affairs, Telecommunication, and Traffic.
So you know the government. You know the government apparatus.
Wow. But actually, you come from the Ministry of Justice.
I came from the Ministry of Justice since 2007. Is when I started my public service as a immigration officer. I switched over in 2008 as a police cadet. I was sworn in 2010 as a full-fledged officer.
So officer on the street, in blue, doing the hard job.
Well, I did that about 2 years on the street, yeah.
Hat is off to you because that is one of the hardest jobs around the world. And, I remember growing up as a kid, it was very much, you were taught to respect, police officers were your friends. You were taught to respect them. If you were in trouble, you could go to a police officer. And I wish we could get some of that mindset back around the world. I think it would make us the whole world a better place.
Yes, it will.
And you were minister. You actually held two portfolios.
Yes.
Which ministries was that?
I was the Minister of Justice, which would be May 3rd, 2024. And simultaneously, because we did not had a Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport, I held that portfolio as well for the entire term of government at that time.
So that was for 4 years?
No, it was normally for 4 years, but our government fell within 17 days. So it lasted nearly 7 months.
7 months as Minister of Justice.
Of Justice and Minister of Education, Culture.
So how does one do you physically keep two offices and go between the two, or do you
literally?
Wow.
Yeah. So I think as a minister, I had the most offices at that time. As in the government building, there is an office for the Minister of ECYS and the Minister of Justice. Yeah. And also there's also a main office for the Minister of Justice at Elledge Road as well.
So you were...
So I had to traverse between the three offices.
And just so the public knows, you don't make two salaries.
No.
You have double the work for the same...
You don't even get an extra allowance.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, just so you know. So it's a lot. It's a heavy burden.
Yes.
It's a lot of responsibility.
How did you juggle that? I mean, how do you even know how... They're so diverse, justice and education. Youth culture.
Well, Dr. Soc, I believe in God. I believe in God, and before I took on the mantle for those two hats, I prayed and I said, listen, I'm going to make it work. It has to work. Many would want to see me fail, but it has to work. And I must say it did. It did work because it resulted in me getting elected for the first time after running 5 times.
Wow, there you go. What's do you like being on the campaign trail? Do you like being out?
Well, I love it. I love people. Okay, I would tell people, some would say, he was not a people's person. Okay, in first instance, because I'm a person that sticks to myself. But after putting yourself out there, it is important that you become very social. The people that you're going to serve, you have to be able to embrace them. You have to be able to love people in order to serve them to its highest potential. And I always say becoming a minister or a member of parliament or even a politician, even if you're not elected, it is very, very important that you serve the people because you are a servant. I know we see it as high offices, but I just see it as service on its highest level.
Well, if you think about it, really, I mean, you're there to do as a member of parliament, as a minister, or even if you're in the justice chamber somewhere, you're really there to do the people's business,
Correct.
and that's really what it comes down to.
So, if I remember, you have children. You have how many?
I have 5 children.
5 children. Yeah.
What ages?
I have an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old.
You were not old enough to have an 18-year-old.
Yes, I do. I have a 12-year-old and I have a 11-year-old.
Wow.
If that's the 5 I mentioned, and I also have a nearly next month, on the 6th of May, I have a 2-year-old grandson.
Wow.
So, just because as we were talking about service as a public servant, actually, very often I sort of liken it to having children, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes you're in a position where you have to make unpopular decisions. The idea is that you're in a position, a leadership position, as head of a household or as a minister or a member of parliament, and you've been entrusted with guiding the group, the family, the community.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it means you have to make unpopular decisions, that you have to do what's right for the family, even though I always say, if my household was a democracy, I'd be eating chicken nuggets and French fries every night for dinner. Sometimes you have to say no. You have to eat vegetables.
Yes.
You have to,
Yes.
Well, I don't want
no,
to come
no
to your
sodas.
house.
Yes.
Right? So how do you balance that? And this is where I always find it difficult, balancing that responsibility against wanting to be reelected, right? So how do you remain popular and still make those hard decisions? I think that's always a challenge for a politician who's a leader.
Yeah. Okay. I will tell you this. I love my kids.
Mhm.
Okay. I have 5, like I just told you. I have 2 boys, 3 girls. Okay. I'm divorced. I'm also a single parent. So my ex-wife have my 2 boys, and I have my 3 girls.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I'm a single parent raising 3 girls. Sometimes you, as a dad, girls really relate to their fathers. They love their fathers, but sometimes you cannot leave it fool you as well. Meaning, I'm saying when I say fool you, my girls know that I love them. So even if they do good or bad in school, I would leave certain things slide.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have to make a unpopular decision where I saw my daughter grades are dropping, but she's always on social media. So I don't want to take her phone. I don't want to take away her tablet. But in order to see those grades go up, I had to make the decision to remove her social media devices from her in order to see progress. You don't nowadays you can't hit your kids, you can't do those type of things. You sometimes you're talking and it's yes, papa, it's okay, papa, but then you see no results. So then you have to find different avenues to make a decision, which you don't want to make that decision, but you have to in order to see progress into the other direction.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sort of use that to dovetail into sort of a pet peeve of mine today.
Uh-oh.
As
I'm ready.
And even as I was driving here, I said, okay, let me count how many vehicles don't have their registration up to date. The sticker, their road tax paid, the license. Even the cars are supposed to have 2 license plates. So many of them have only 1. A lot of them are blacked out. You can't even see. You can't even identify the vehicles.
I often wonder, how do people, when the windows are so dark, tinted so
Right.
dark, how do you see out? I don't get it.
So, and honestly, just on the 20-minute ride here, I lost count. It was just so many that, in my opinion, looked as if they're non-compliant, right? So this kind of goes back to our story. Like, clearly, there's a compliance issue, and yet those hard measures, those discipline measures, taking away people's tablet, which might mean park up your car until you get your insurance in order, etc. What's your opinion about how that's evolved, even during your time as minister to now? It's clear that there's not really a sense of, I would say, lawfulness on the road.
Well, there was a saying that I learned in Dutch years ago. This in St. Martin. Alles mag en alles kan. Okay, it basically means everything basically can happen,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is basically sometimes tolerated. St. Martin is very small.
But if you did that with your kids,
Yeah,
their grades would keep dropping.
that's correct.
So what are we
And
doing
the
wrong
info-
as a community?
It's not what we're doing wrong. People need to be self-aware and listen, just do the right thing. But people do understand that we don't have enough officers on the street to enforce it as well. So sometimes you see them take your tin off, for example, and then the same person the same day will put the tin back on.
Mm.
What is not happening in St. Martin is a proper system. We should have a system like Europe, for example. If you are fined for something, it's supposed to be a tract directly straight that it will be you'll get your fine in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pay the fine within a period of time, it would be augmented to a higher amount, etc., and that will lead to court. Now, I do not believe that the system, since my time as a regular cop, there's any follow-up upon it.
Yeah, my
Okay?
understanding is the prosecutor's office is actually responsible to collect the
Yes.
fines. So that's an issue. It should basically go to
The receiver's
receiver's
office.
office,
If,
yeah.
if I do not know if they changed it, but back in my time, it was also to the prosecutor's office.
I think it's the same.
I think probably it's the same now. If it's changed to the receiver's office, which would be great. But again, it's all about the follow-up. There's no proper follow-up. People get fines. I mean, people personally tell me today, yeah, I got a fine, and yeah, I'm not paying it. Oh, look, they made a mistake on the date for the court case. How can they give me a date that already passed? You know, those type of things people play games with, and they do the same thing. Even with seatbelts, I see it's a norm that people put the seatbelts behind their back. They lock it in because they don't want to hear the sound. But again, I would tell them it's for your own safety. So it's not only because you don't want to get a fine or you don't want to hear the noise, but take your safety serious. And that starts from home.
So, but as a member of parliament, you could work on changing legislation that fines are increased, that there's
Yes.
and that it's collected by the receiver's office instead of the prosecutor's office, at least for certain simple fines, right? Obviously, the more serious things should probably go to the prosecutor still, but for simple road violations, why not as an MP? Why don't you champion that as a it would bring money to government and would improve overall compliance.
Well, when you say it's a great something that an MP can can bring forth.
Mm-hmm.
However, he has to do it in collaboration with the minister, who basically has to enforce that particular legislation. And if, say, for example, if the minister decides, well, I does not see it within my framework or my planning. Now, again, the minister, for example, I'm in opposition. The minister is part of a coalition. And of course, the coalition normally will vote alongside with what their minister would reference. So again, making laws goes not only, it doesn't do overnight, number one. Number two, it has to be in collaboration with the ministry that's going to execute eventually that law. And again, the funding. The funding in order for us to get these legislations on the floor is also a problem, as we also barely have any legislative lawyers here on the island. So just before you continue, again, also when you're talking about changing the fees, etc., I have sat with the Minister of Finance as well, because you have something called the Leisures-Verordening. Mm-hmm. So their fines, everything is regulated within that law. And if you want to change it again, you have to deal with the Minister of Finance and how we are going to change it.
So the good thing about being late, Soc and I, we always talk about this. The good thing about being late is that you don't have to be smart anymore, right? We can actually just look to neighbors, to others,
Correct,
to see how they've solved it. And actually, I remember, because I brought this up in a press conference with the Minister of Justice, and she mentioned that in Curacao, they've actually solved this by the prosecutor's department increasing their staff for collections, and that the increased fees that they collected actually funded that increased staff in the prosecutor's office. So it was a budget neutral activity, at least, and improved overall compliance. So again, just something for you to think about, because the idea that this is sort of it doesn't impact us isn't true, in that I got a letter that from one of our listeners from the insurance company, and they say they're increasing premiums and service fees, and one of the reasons they mention is rising claim costs. The overall increase in claim costs, including repair and replacement expenses, has added additional pressure on our ability to maintain current premium rates while continuing to provide the high quality service you expect. So meaning that because there's more accidents, there's more claims, and of course also because prices are going up, that they're going to raise insurance fees, and that hits everybody.
Yes.
Whether you wear your seatbelt or not, that impacts everybody. So
All
this
of us.
non-compliance, eventually it's the compliant that end up paying for it.
That is exactly how it is, because into that direction with what you just mentioned. For example, I have a car rental. Okay, I have a car rental, and yes, I do have accidents, but I choose to get my garage to fix those things without going to the insurance. Why? Because I don't want my premium to go up. Now you're seeing there's also the insurance is basically generalizing it now and saying, listen, we have a lot of accidents.
Right.
We have a lot of claims. So now they are raising it, but who's going to get affected? I'm also going to be affected by it, who don't even send in claims.
Exactly.
So it's unfortunate, but that is exactly what is going on here on Island.
And it really comes down to this in my mind. It's the job of our collective government to create a fair playing field. And so that residents, businesses, everyone can operate on that fair playing field. And it seems to me that one of our biggest issues, whether it's enforcement, whether it's how building permits are processed, how immigration permits are processed, or how pick any government service, right? We have not created the collective government, the executive and the legislative branches have not created that fair playing field. And without that fair playing field, costs go up. And then the people suffer. The residents suffer. So, and this requires, in my mind, strong leadership.
Yes.
Guts.
Mm-hmm.
My father would have said intestinal fortitude,
Proper.
There you go. Thanks, Dad. Hope you're listening, Dad. And we just, and when you put that in a small town like St. Martin, where everybody knows everybody, and then you hear it from cousins and brothers, and the police officer might pull over their own cousin on the street, right? It gets even harder, and we just seem to be lacking the maturity to do that. And how do we fix that? How do we move this forward?
I just told some colleagues the other day, for example, we have a opposition side, we have a coalition side. I say, but you know what I see? I see 15 members of parliament. I don't see 9 coalition members. I don't see 6 opposition members. I see collectively 15 members of parliament who took an oath to serve this country wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. That is what I see. So when it comes to making sound decisions, it's not based on party lines. It's supposed to be based on what the people of this country mandated us to do. Mr. Lee just mentioned pertaining to revenue generating, for example, in the direction with the fines. But however, one of my initiatives, and I've been singing it over and over, we have a big situation with the police officers who are waiting for their back pay. Now I'm saying, okay, police officers don't generate any money. The force does not generate any money, or most of the justice agency don't generate money. But guess what? We have the immigration department that does immigration processes. And if you see those fees, they are very low. Okay. Also, we were giving dispensation letters for individuals to remain on the island pending their residency, as the law permits that you have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We don't charge 1 cent. Now, if these fees are incorporated into the legislative or even augmented to a certain amount, it does not. And you say basically, we say settling the playing field?
Mm-hmm.
Leveling the
Playing field?
Yeah.
Those fees will not touch our people.
Right.
Those fees will not touch our residents. So therefore, the outsiders who wanted to come to this country will pay those fees. Also, one of my ideas are, and like we say, why do we have to reinvent the wheel? You were just talking about looking around at our neighbors, and I keep singing this song. When I go to St. Thomas, I go through Tortola. And because I'm in transit, I have to pay a $20 environmental fee. When I'm coming back from St. Thomas, I pay that $20 environmental fee. That's $40. That fee would not, if we establish that fee here, it will not touch our people. It will touch to the people that are transiting to Anguilla, to St. Bart's, to Sabre, to Stacia, to the St. Kitts, Nevis, whoever is using St. Martin as a hub. Do you know how much millions we can make out of even that initiative?
Well, again, one of the things that has bothered me a lot is the Airbnb. Actually, I don't believe you even need a change in our tax laws or any legislation to collect the fees from the Airbnb rentals. They're obligated to do it. And again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Other countries, what they've done is the Airbnbs need to register. They need to put the registration number on their listing. And otherwise, Airbnb won't list you, right? I think New York City's done it. Other countries and cities in Europe have done it. So it just means that you have to register so the tax department knows who you are and that you need to pay your room tax, right? The other thing is, so that's easy money. That's money that's just on the ground waiting for somebody to just sweep it up and put it into the coffers. And the other thing is, I think what you'll find is that because there's so many Airbnb units, the rental prices for residents, the long-term rentals, those prices have gone up because the availability, a lot of those units go into Airbnbs so that the long-term rental availability isn't there. So again, register how many Airbnbs you have would make it much easier for you to say, whoa, this is too much. We need to regulate it or not.
Well, it's really simple, right? And there are
and some Airbnbs do pay their taxes.
There are a lot of
but I don't believe the majority is.
So I'll tell you this: Airbnb is a website. We're talking about vacation rentals, right?
Yeah.
And all vacation rentals should be paying their room tax. I have 2 of them. We pay. I do it through Jennifer's Vacation Villas. We pay my every night, every stay. They pay their room tax, collected and paid. And I struggle with why we are not going after those vacation rentals that are not paying their room tax.
And instead, government's talking about adding another tourism tax. So all you're doing, again, is the compliant end up paying more because there's too much non-compliance.
And here's the other thing that's a little troublesome to me is when you look at vacation rentals, we should be doing everything we can to make our destination be the most attractive destination for visitors to come to, and with that come tons of infrastructure challenges and everything else that we're falling behind on. But at the end of the day, when we allow vacation rentals to go on and on and on and make it so hard for somebody who isn't a resident to get a local tax ID number a crib number so they could pay their taxes, we're just like slapping ourselves.
Indeed, it's something you need to look at. If you're a non-resident, right? So you're an American citizen, you buy a unit here, to get a crib number, a tax ID number here is very complicated. So even when people want to pay, we don't make it easy. And in general, compliance should be the path of least resistance, not the most complicated.
That is something definitely to look into. In another avenue, we have a lot of illegal residents, so individuals that are not documented here, but they're working. Okay, and I can tell you at my office, many have come and say, listen, yes, I'm here. I'm trying to get my papers in order, but they do have a crib number. They do go to the tax office and say, listen, I've earned this monthly, and I would like to pay my share. So there's some people have a service level agreement. Okay,
but I think that's because the employer.
No, not necessarily.
Really?
No. So even though they're employed, like I say, if there's a service level agreement, means the person is responsible for their own taxes. They go to the tax office and they give them the information. Listen, I am doing this work for X. X is paying me B, and I would like to pay my fair share of taxes. And basically, that's how I build certain files for individuals to say, listen, not only that they are here undocumented, but they're also contributing to our tax scheme. And what is very important in what we should also educate our people, in order to build your country, you got to pay taxes. Okay?
Listen, we all have to do two things. We all eventually we all have to die.
Yeah.
And we all have to pay a little bit of tax.
You have to pay a little bit of tax. And even when you're gone, you will receive documentation in the mail still that you have an assessment where you have to pay taxes. So
my dad gone 4 years, it still goes on.
So I have a suggestion because I think we try to be solution oriented here on the show. If I was Minister of Justice, I would put a little container office on Colbay Hill. I would put so number one, I would try and have traffic police, making a distinction between, the full police officers, because I think you could probably have different qualifications for simply traffic police, which hopefully means that they would be a little bit less expensive and you could supplement your numbers. And I would put 2 officers on Colbay Hill all the time and just, keep pulling over people who are non-compliant. Send the message to the community. If you don't have your stuff in order, don't go over Colbay Hill. That would help alleviate traffic. And eventually it just becomes such a pain in the neck to not have things in order that people will get things in order.
Well, Emil, with a little knowledge that I have over the police force and the organizational structure, we've became a country within the kingdom since the 10th of October 2010. You have leadership within the police organization where you have something called FTEs, so that in the organizational structure it will tell you how much uniform officers you should have.
So FTEs are full-time employees.
Yes, full-time employees. Now, what is important to note is, have we reached there in the past 16 years?
The total
formation. Capacity. Yeah. And I always say that the police chief is responsible for recruitment. So you see recruitment all the time that's going on. I'm pro the recruitment. But are we reaching the capacity? No. Why? Because we are hiring a lot of officers, for example, that were born in Curacao or raised in Curacao, or in Bonaire, or whatever Dutch island. They get their training here. We pay for it. Expensive training for about 2 years. They're employed, and after a while, they're gone. So where are we? We're back to square one.
Why? Because the salaries are higher somewhere else?
Well, the salaries are better over there. They're getting the best treatment because there's a lot of negativity coming from the management team, from the people to me as well. And I also went through it. But guess what, Emil? I don't have nowhere to go. Many officers don't have nowhere to go. But we are the minority, meaning the other individuals, and I'm not talking about Curaçaoians that were born in Curacao and raised in St. Martin. I'm talking about your hiring in individuals, not individuals that were born in Curacao, raised in St. Martin, and only know St. Martin. I'm talking about individuals that lives abroad, see an opening for police, they come to St. Martin, they get their training, and when they're done, they're gone. So who's responsible for this? So we would never have the capacity if we don't make it attractive mostly to our people here on the island. And I'm not talking about St. Martin born. I'm talking about individuals that are Dutch nationals, went to school in St. Martin, homegrown, everything here. Make it attractive for our local people to get the jobs so that we can build our capacity faster.
And here to be an officer, command of the Dutch language is a requirement?
Yes, it's one of the requirements till now.
And has that been a barrier to finding sufficient numbers of police officers? Because many of the people here go through an English-speaking stream through school, so they could be born here,
yes,
but yet not have command of the Dutch.
I am an example of one of the individuals that went to English-speaking stream. Okay.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school at Sundial School, where my stream was in English. I finished it off vocational education as well. So I didn't go to the MAVO, the HAVO, the VWO. And when I joined the police force, I had no choice but to invest into myself so that I can learn the language, because all the report making.
So you learned Dutch
after the fact.
As you became a police officer.
Yes.
But I thought Dutch was a requirement to become
It's
a police officer.
no, it's
No?
it's a requirement to become a police officer. But if you have the basic knowledge and they see potential, they give you the chance.
Oh, okay.
And but if you do not pass in school, then you also lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
So as a cadet, if you don't pass the training, basically you no longer have a job. Okay, so I did my utmost best. I invested in myself. I always would mention it publicly. Miss Oldine Bryson was also one of the.
I love her.
Yeah, she was also one of the principals at Milton Peters College. I was not in her stream. However, her son was in my class as a police officer, and she was giving me private lessons. So it's how a St. Martiner who goes into an English stream would like to invest in themselves, you can't just expect that it's just going to be granted to you. The love for country, number one, has to be first, and your passion for reaching your goal is important. So therefore, if you don't have that passion, then I would say, okay, ease up. But again, we have to make it more attractive for our people to earn to become police officers. I always tell people becoming a police officer is not a regular job, meaning you just apply and you're hired. You are chosen.
But if opening it up that if you have command of English but not Dutch, that you could be a police officer, if that would bring in more officers,
I
would
don't
does that make sense or not?
I don't necessarily it to me it does not necessarily mean so, Emil, because a lot of us speaks English, but does it mean that we command the language?
Yeah.
Does it mean that we can really write and articulate properly in that language? Come on, my kids was born on a French side. Some of them are going to school in France, and the grade that I see sometimes he gets for French, it annoys me because this child only knows French. So does it mean because you can speak a language means you can put it on paper? And that is important. So it's not about to me it's not about the speaking part, because I write Dutch better than I speak it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
let me do this, gentlemen. I'm a little late at 8:36. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back more with Member of Parliament, the Honorable Lyndon Lewis will be back with us, and of course more St. Martin Insights news that matters to you with Emil Lee. Welcome back to the program 846 right here in the Northeast Caribbean. Of course, St. Martin Insights news that matters to you with Emil Lee and yours truly, our guest this morning, Member of Parliament, the Honorable Lyndon Lewis. I understand that we have a few of your colleagues are also listening. I'm getting messages behind the scenes. Oh,
So perhaps you can tell us. I understand you have this nickname, Batman. Where did this come from?
What, your name is?
Nickname.
Really?
Yeah, they refer to him as Batman. So where did that come from?
Well, at one time, we was mentioning unpopular decisions. I did a lot of unpopular things, and it was not even scripted. It was not even planned. I can tell you one of them is where everyone knows he was a police officer. He was a detective, and there was a warrant for a gentleman's arrest at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And he contacted my office, so not the police force, but contacted my office and said
The gentleman who had the warrant.
who had the warrant,
Where?
and he told one of my staff members, I would like the Minister of Justice to walk me in.
Wow.
I was like, what? Yeah, he don't want the police to beat him up.
So he was afraid.
He
Wow.
was afraid, and he decided he wanted to. And I contacted the chief of police. I did what was necessary. And again, as a citizen, you can make citizens arrest as well.
Yeah.
So
Can you here?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, you can. That's the law. You can see something wrong happening. For example, a man is beating his wife to the pulp, and you're seeing this, and then you're just going to be nonchalant and walk away. You can actually arrest him.
Interesting. Okay.
You understand? Because
Can I
that's
cuff
a
him?
criminal offense. Oh. However, you get arrested, because being arrested, it doesn't mean you have to have cuffs.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to tell the person you're under arrest, and if they comply, it is simple.
Oh,
Cuffing is
interesting.
just for transportation purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so Batman. Of course, everyone knows he's a vigilante, and I guess they saw me as a vigilante, and I didn't know where it actually came from. Everyone thought it was from Andrew Dick, but one time in the studio, I learned it came from Alston Lawrence.
Alston, Alston, where are you this
I
morning?
learned that Alston is the man behind the scenes that called me Batman, and then Andrew Dick run with it, and then now. Yeah, it's all over. When I say it's all over, literally it's all over.
It's all over. Yeah.
I was in Stacia the other day, and some residents of Stacia saw me and they're like, "Hey, Batman!" So,
Do you have the suit? Do you have the suit?
well, I have so much things with Batman now. It's crazy. They bought me Batman socks. I have Batman key holder, Batman wallet.
Listen,
You know,
next
my-
year Halloween.
Yeah, well,
My son has a great T-shirt. It says, "I'm not saying I'm Batman. I'm just saying you've never seen me and Batman in the same room together."
together, yes.
That's a good one for you.
That's from Sebastian.
Yeah, he has a T-shirt that says that.
Oh, anyway.
So let's chat politics. You have in Parliament brought a motion of no confidence against the current Minister of Romy, Patrice Gums. In layman's terms, can you explain to the people, how this action serves the country and the people?
Okay.
What's the reasoning?
First and foremost, if people actually listen to Parliament meetings, and they will understand, Mr. Gums, when he was explaining his plans for his tenure, so basically a 4-year plan, he basically mentioned that he's not going to do any execution for the first 3 years. And then on his last year, he's going to start executing. And I did get up and I said, who tell you that you're going to be
This is
there?
where?
This is at the beginning after he was, I think it was in last year after they sworn in.
Because it's not in the governing program. It doesn't say that in the governing
he
program.
publicly said that in Parliament.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he said basically that in his last year, he's going to start signing off stuff, etc., etc. And I was like, but who tell you you're going to be there for the full 4 years? No problem. Let's see how it goes. Now I'm going to get calls. I see no road works. It's public. You can see there's literally no road work going on.
Well, they did Arch Road.
Yeah, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that part.
Okay.
Because that's after the fact.
Okay.
Okay. So therefore, there was no roadworks going on. there's nothing going on when it comes to these big investors that are busy with investing. For example, Indigo Bay, you have stuff going down at Cooper Coy, etc. I'm learning about these things. I also made an article at one time with Villa Vane pertaining to the project over there. There's also car wrecks all over. I am one of the individuals that take pictures. So I don't just write articles. I go to the scene. And I've taken pictures in the past of Phillipsburg. I've sent it to the Minister of Romy. I've taken pictures of the garbage situation up Nazareth, where there's a big garbage bin. It was overflowing. Kids were playing. I took those pictures. I sent it to the minister himself. There's also a serious situation here in Well Road where residents have been contacting me with how the road is basically sinking and there's a lot of dirty water on the road. But there's little to no response. Okay? You recently saw the lady that was putting the trash from in front of her gate onto Front Street. She personally reached out to me, and another family member of hers, I believe, reached out to me pertaining to that situation. There's little to no response. The contractor that deals with the dump, I have the pictures and the videos of how garbage, even on the coastline around the dump, floating in the water. The machines are down because of not receiving the funding on time to maintain the machines. So I'm not talking about not just the roads. I'm not just talking just about car wrecks. I'm not just talking about the investment part within this country. I'm not talking about children playing in unsanitary areas. It is too much. I have given enough chances. Like I said, I am a member of parliament. My job is not to execute. My job is to hold the minister accountable. My job is to make sure, like you said in layman's terms, explain the people of this country really what is going on in the country. I'm tired of seeing handshakes, smiles, and nothing is going on. Okay?
So basically you're saying in your opinion, he's been ineffective at executing his role as minister.
Overall.
Okay.
And it's plain to see. Now, a motion came.
From you.
From me.
Yeah.
The motion came from me, and check the activities now. How is it possible we're going to say, okay, there was no money, but all of a sudden, Arch Road get to pave? How Arch Road get paved? That was also one of the planning just before the former minister of Romy, not his predecessor, but the one before Mr. Duran, signed off, and Arch Road, according to me, was one of the first to be executed. How is it possible that we are the second minister after Duran, and only now it's getting done? Now it makes me think, oh, is it because of the motion? Second of all, you're asking the people them to be compliant because, oh, we just had showers of blessings, and all of a sudden we're mentioning, this is one of the causes of the road. We are 2 years further. Why wasn't this happening before? You can't fool me. And I would not allow you to fool the people of this country, because people see beautiful articles and see ministers out there, but actually they do not know if they're really working or not. The people continue to suffer based on these inactive ministers. This minister have traveled, whether he traveled on his own merit or on the government's behalf. So I see more travel than I see groundwork. We can represent our country abroad, but the social economic part is lacking. And if people are writing you as minister, I've been overwhelmed with a lot of emails as minister before and messages. I think you know about that too. People will text you all the time, but how do you manage it? You get one of your staff members assigned to deal with this thing that we can get a prompt response. You can have people investing millions in this country and they can't get a response from you.
And let me ask you, the dump, I always found it very interesting that government has made a decision that they're going to cap off the dump. But when you ask, okay, well, then where will the new dump be? There's no answer. It's a little like saying, I'm going to blow up my house in December, but I don't know where I'm going to live after that.
Exactly.
Right? Is that something that Parliament has any insight into, any clarity? What's the plan?
We have no insight on anything if they do not bring it to Parliament. And for example, if you mention it, now that I actually know about it, my job is to also research and find out really what is going on. And especially when you're part of the opposition, probably the coalition would know about it, but we in opposition don't know about it. So these are the type of things we have to look into. And like I say, I don't see opposition or coalition. So I think the information should be shared equally when we have to make a sound decision at the end. Not that we're going to get something last minute and you expect me to vote on it, to brainstorm on it now and make a decision now.
So let me ask you another practical question, because this is something I've asked him. You know, you mentioned car wrecks, right? A lot of times people will just take their plates off the cars and just park up the car and just leave it to you know, people start stripping parts, and then it's just a wreck there, yeah? And I asked, but you have the VIN number. Most of the time people just take off the plates. I haven't seen one where they actually go through the effort to take the VIN number off. Why can't government look the VIN number? You have the records where the car was registered, and charge the person for removal of the wreck. Is there a reason why that can't be done?
I don't know what the law says exactly when it comes to the car wrecks, but I can say the minister is responsible. And again, just like I just mentioned, after the motion came, then you're seeing Arch Road paved. Just also after the motion, I also mentioned about the car wrecks on the Illich Road leading to Bush Road. I mentioned that as well during my delivery of the motion. He was just, they had pictures. They love to take pictures. Removing the car wrecks now from Illich Road going onto the Bush Road.
Okay, so I'm going to start sending you pictures of stuff to get done. And see
because,
if
I'm talking about roads. Here we see it. Roads are getting paved. I talked about the car wrecks. The car wrecks from the same area that I mentioned. You see all the tow trucks, big picture. Tow trucks are removing the car wrecks. Why wasn't this done before?
So you feel it's really just optics.
You're not working.
So
you're not working. You're not working. And I like the guy. I'm telling you, I have no problem with Patrice as a person. Get it correct. I have no problem with him as a person. But if you are you are one of the leaders in my country, and I as an MP feel like I'm working harder than you, because it's impossible, okay? All the noise and all the information that I am gathering or that I got from people randomly, whether on Facebook, whether on WhatsApp, whether on the phone calls, whether on email, pertaining to the infrastructure of this country, he's supposed to get more than me because he is the minister. So I feel I'm overburdened, I'm overwhelmed, and I had enough. I feel that people were disrespected when you don't answer them. So therefore, government has to make that decision, who is going to replace him if the motion is passed.
So it seems as if there's going to be two motions presented, one for Minister of Romy, one I understand is probably pending for Minister of VSA. So do you see, as a politician, as a MP, do you see a shakeup in the coalition structure?
Yes, I do. I do see a shakeup, Emil, and I think it's necessary for that shakeup.
And again, so the public understands, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to throw
changing
the makeup of the governing
Let's
party.
say clear, changing the players. So changing the minister to put someone else that you think are capable. And again, if you get somebody that's not capable, what is our job? I am not going to say, but even if I was part of the coalition, if my minister is not working, you are not making it look good for me for our next election. If my government don't work, the people will not elect me.
So, and we do need to wrap up, and what about the fact, for example, that government hasn't submitted a budget? We're almost halfway through the year, but yet there's no budget for the year. I mean, isn't that also an issue?
It seems to be an ongoing problem for a number of years.
Yeah, but this one is to the extreme, and everyone knows I love the Minister of Finance. Okay, I am not gonna sit back here and say anything. Like I said, I can love her as much as I want. But if you're lacking somewhere, we have a problem.
But
the budget.
I haven't heard
I would love to be the Minister of Finance.
No, but many of the MPs are asking for the budget all the time. But it will be to the minister's demise if she also doesn't do her work. But I can say I think she has the most attendance rate in Parliament than any minister.
But she never comes to Council of Ministers press briefings.
No. You know, actually, Emil, I don't really listen to them.
You should.
I actually don't listen. Since I left, if someone don't send me a little snippet, I don't see it because I cannot
It's
be
on the radio
fooled.
all the time.
I cannot be fooled. I actually listened to the one briefly yesterday, and I heard the Honorable Minister of Tiat talking about I think the strip with, I don't know what they call it, but there's a name for it, and I started to laugh that they actually gave it a name for the booths that are outside.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we need to see more coming from the government instead of press releases, instead of handshakes, instead of ribbon cutting, something tangible. The people need
Action.
to see something that would make us proud and say, listen, because at the end of the day, even though I'm not part of the coalition, that's my prime minister. That's my minister of finance. That's my minister of Rummy as well.
Mm-hmm.
We only have one government.
Only one government.
I would love to see a handful of things happen. Can we please create an alternative energy policy that would help everyone on this island?
Mm-hmm.
Can we also fix the Airbnb tax problem? And can we please? I'm sure that if we took a handful of us together and sat in my office on a Saturday morning, we could have a straw man budget built for Country St. Martin by Saturday afternoon with lots of coffee. I'm sure of it. MP, Member of Parliament, Lyndon Lewis, thank you for joining us this morning.
And
It's a
don't-
pleasure.
And don't be a stranger.
Come back and visit.
Okay.
Come back.
Come back and
I
visit.
will, I
We
will.
weren't too rough. I don't think so. We were
No. And a lot of people was telling me, some people sent me some messages, oh, you're going to the PFP radio station. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I said, I am not prepped for any interview, any invite. I will be here. I don't care
But
who it is.
we've
Listen,
there's an open invitation to anyone who wants to
and
come
that's how
in.
I felt when
Yes.
you contacted me.
the door is open.
The door's open. Anyone who feels like they want to come in, by all means, you're
I,
welcome.
I think
Thank
you.
you.
I think it is safe to say that you can ask any minister or any member of Parliament
You have an open invitation.
that has been here.
Yeah.
They have all been treated fairly. They've all been treated with a modicum of respect, and in return, they've treated us the same way.
Actually, most of the time they leave and they're like, "Man, that was okay." They were expecting maybe they were gonna get a little rough or no. I think it's always in the people's interest.
Listen,
Yes.
our job is to talk, right? And we'll let everybody else make
And
their
let,
own,
and let the
but,
people
make their
listen.
decision.
Also,
That's-
yes.
That's
And,
that's our
and what
job.
is good, because like I said, you have members of parliament that is also listening. You have ministers I also saw that was also listening. So therefore they can say, oh, we better start doing something because we don't know what this guy is going to come with next.
Well, listen, I've had the fortunate opportunity to get to know just about all of our ministers. I think now I can safely say I've met just about all of our members of Parliament.
Okay.
And for me, it's about love of Sweet St. Martin.
Beautiful.
And, this is the one place that's been in my life longer than anywhere in the world. Back when I still had hair.
As I can see on the wall.
Well, even before that picture, that goes. I think my first visit here was 1980 or 81.
Oh,
So,
that's before. That's even way before my existence.
and so this is a very special place. And I also, one of the things that I just refuse to do is I refuse to engage in the nasty politics. We won't do it. We're going to talk to each
Beautiful.
other, and we're going to have open, honest conversations, and that's the way life should be. MP, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We'll
And
see you
thank you
again.
for the invite. Thank you.
Come back again. The coffee is always hot. And let's see. I'm late. It's 5 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. Marine and tropical weather update is on the way right after these messages. Stay with us.